Am I the a-hole for refusing to forgive my friends for keeping my boyfriend's cheating a secret? I, 25 female, just got out of a 4-year relationship after finding out my boyfriend had been cheating on me for months. The worst part? Almost all of my closest friends knew, and no one told me. We've all been part of the same friend group since college, hanging out every weekend, taking trips together and supporting each other through everything. Or so I thought. A few weeks ago, I got a message from a girl I didn't know. She told me she had been seeing my boyfriend and just found out he was in a relationship. At first, I thought she was lying or mistaken, but she sent screenshots, texts, photos, even a video of them together. I felt like my whole world shattered. When I confronted my boyfriend, he admitted everything. He had been cheating for nearly a year, and my friends knew. They saw him flirting at parties, caught him sneaking off with her, and even overheard conversations about it. When I asked them why they didn't tell me, they gave me excuses. It wasn't our place. We didn't want to be involved. We thought you might already know. I was devastated. These were the people I trusted the most, and they let me be blindsided. I cut off my ex immediately, but my friends? That's been harder. Some have apologized, saying they feel awful, while others are acting like I'm overreacting. They keep inviting me to things, expecting everything to go back to normal, but I can't look at them the same way. Now they're saying I'm being unfair by holding this against them, that I shouldn't throw away years of friendship over this. But they knew, they saw, and they chose to stay silent while I was being lied to. Now they expect me to just move on like nothing happened? How can I ever trust them again? Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Are you sure they're your friends? Because they wouldn't be mine. Right, OP, that's not what friends do. They picked sides when they found out he was cheating, and it wasn't yours. You'll find a real group of friends, because whoever they aren't it. They all knew, every last one of them. 365 days, maybe a little less. They kept his secret, hurting you in the process. Of course not the a-hole. They didn't want to get involved. They got involved when they hid his secret from you for a year. I can't even imagine the betrayal you feel. You pretty much lost the boyfriend and the people you considered your closest friends in one swoop. People I'm assuming you would have otherwise turned to for support during this time. Not the a-hole. Ironic, isn't it? How a complete stranger turned out to be friendlier than your own friends. It takes courage to tell the truth after you find out you're the mistress without knowing it. If I were you, I would have thanked that girl. On the other hand, I wouldn't forgive those who call themselves your friends either. A real friend doesn't hide something that important. This part, revealing you're the mistress, is dangerous. You never know how someone will react. They might try to fight you. They might even try to off you if they're crazy. But she picked doing the right thing nonetheless. You can't. I'm 35 and have only had one really close friend. She was with me for everything for the last 14 years. I mean everything. The births of our children, the loss of 2 of my children, passed during delivery, the loss of my dad, her parents abandoning her, literally everything. Fast forward to December 2023, I left my very abusive ex and father of my 3 children, 1 living. He has always been a horrible father. By July 2024, he decided to start rumors about me. And instead of asking me about things unrelated to our friendship, she just hopped on his bandwagon. When I tell you I had no one to talk to about everything, it brought me to my knees. I didn't think I'd be able to make it without her. But seriously, I am so proud of myself for standing my ground. Any friend of mine, especially one as close as her, knows me better than to believe stupid rumors, and if not, they are no real friend of mine. Was it hard? Yes. But with all that being said, I met the man of my dreams, my best friend. When the person I needed the most gave me every reason, or rather excuse, not to show up, a perfect stranger showed up for me 1,000 times for no reason at all. So it's up to you whether or not you're willing to keep these friends in your life when they don't have your best interests in mind. Yeah, nope. My former in-laws introduced my then spouse to his affair partner, and my family helped my then estranged spouse kidnap our children to get them out of state, destroy my property, and leave me homeless. All of them follow each other, but I didn't use social media so everybody knew, and none of them warned me. I will never forgive my family, and I agree, you should not forgive your so-called friends. Next story. Am I the a-hole for asking my friend to give back a gift I gave her after she openly expressed that she would be getting rid of it? I, 27 female, have been friends with this girl, we'll call her Mary, 28 female, since high school. Recently, I was back in our hometown, and she invited me to her birthday brunch to celebrate her 28th birthday. One day on my way home, I happened to stumble across an estate sale where I found a set of really nice crystal champagne glasses that were in excellent condition and cheaper than their worth. Mary lives a high-quality fancy lifestyle, so I thought they would be perfect for her, especially because they were within my budget. At the time, I had been recovering from student loans and had just put down a deposit on my first apartment in the city. Fast forward to the brunch. We had a great time, and I got to catch up with Mary and other friends from high school. Mary was eager to open the presents, and when she got to mine, she seemed to like them, asking where I got them since there was no label. I explained that I didn't know the brand, but the person running the estate sale had assured me that they were authentic and had been a wedding gift to the previous owners. At the mention of the estate sale, Mary became visibly disgusted. Although she didn't say anything to my face, she was very passive-aggressive towards me for the rest of the afternoon. I overheard her whispering to some of the other guests about how I had the audacity to give her a used item and that she would be discarding them later. After the event was over, I approached her privately, not wanting to make a scene, and asked that if she wasn't going to use the glasses, could she give them back since I would put them to good use and knew their quality. She flipped out, telling me it was extremely rude to ask for them back, and that it was none of my business what she did with them. My family is understanding and thinks I did nothing wrong, but some mutual friends who were at the event think otherwise. So, am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. If I gift someone something nice and they're openly talking about it wasn't good enough and they're gonna trash it, yeah, I'll ask for it back. And either way, end that friendship. Maybe if people cared about the gift-giving rule, they wouldn't openly trash the gift. Just what I was going to say. That's the last gift she ever gets from me if she's still in my social circle. I really don't know where the idea came from that once a gift is given, the recipient has complete freedom to do whatever they want with it. In the real world, we have to consider the feelings of others, including those who give us gifts. For example, it would be extremely rude to immediately throw a gift in the trash upon opening it while the giver looks on. If someone did that with one of my gifts, I'd be hurt, and I'd rather take it back than watch that happen. This is pretty close to what Mary was about to do with the glasses, so I think OP is not the a-hole. This, especially considering that even though the birthday girl was talking smack about the gift and throwing it away where OP could clearly hear, OP was still kind enough to wait until she could speak to her in private to ask for the gift back. Next story. Am I the a-hole for walking out of yoga class after the instructor hit on my daughter and kissed her? My mom has been begging me to join her yoga class, so I agreed and brought my 19-year-old daughter along. From the moment we walked in, the instructor, let's call him Chad, mid-40s, thinks he's some sort of spiritual guru, zeroed in on my daughter. He kept complimenting her energy and asking her deep, awkward questions about her soul connection. My deaf grandmother, 85 female, saw what was happening and signed to me that she thought he was cute. Class starts, and my grandma, who has no idea what's going on, starts doing her own random stretches in the back. Meanwhile, Chad keeps adjusting my daughter way more than necessary, his hands lingering far too long on her waist, whispering things like, "Relax, feel the flow." She looked super uncomfortable, but he didn't seem to notice. Then after the class ends, as everyone is packing up, Chad grabs my daughter by the shoulders and leans in for what I can only describe as a full-on kiss on the cheek. My daughter was frozen, absolutely stunned, and I lost it. I rushed over, grabbed her, and told Chad he needed to back off. He just stood there smirking, acting like he'd done nothing wrong. I stormed out with my daughter and told my mom that we were never coming back to that studio. Now my mom is furious at me, saying I'm being too dramatic, and my grandma keeps signing, "He had good energy. You should have let it go." Am I the a-hole for pulling my daughter out? Because I feel like this went way beyond just a yoga class. Now for the top comments. Oh, hell no. You go make a complaint. If there is no one to complain to, make a Google review and say exactly what you say here. A 40-year-old getting handsy with a teenager. Don't let it go. I will. Grandma's from that any male attention is good male attention generation. Ignore her BS. Not the a-hole. That description has the hair on the back of my neck standing on end. Minimally, report him to the studio or gym or whatever he was at. Maximally, well, I'd be lucky to walk out of that situation with just a misdemeanor. Just saying. Here's hoping the perp gets his. I totally agree. It gave me chills too. I'm definitely reporting it to the studio, and if they don't take it seriously, I'll go further. Posting this made me realize how serious this actually is. Don't stop at reporting it to the center, regardless of how seriously they take it. Blast this creep on social media, Google reviews, etc. Next story. Am I the a-hole for dumping my girlfriend because of her kid? So I, 29 male, started seeing this girl, Julia, 25 female, about a month ago. Things were going really well. We had great chemistry and I was enjoying getting to know her. I had no real complaints. She seemed fun, cool, and like someone I could seriously date. A few days ago, I had just finished a long day at work and told her I'd pick her up and take her to this nice restaurant I'd been wanting to try. I was excited because I thought it would be a fun night. Then she replied, "I can't tonight. My parents have plans and I need to take care of my kid." At first, I was taken aback. I honestly thought I misheard her. Like, did she just say kid? I thought maybe she was talking about a younger sibling or something. But when I asked, she casually confirmed that she has a 7-month-old baby. Now, I'm not someone who judges single mothers or anything like that, but this was the first time I was hearing about it. We had been seeing each other for a few weeks, and I had no idea she had a baby. She had never mentioned it before. The way she said it so casually made it feel like I was the one who was supposed to just accept it, like it was no big deal. The truth is, I wouldn't have continued this relationship if I had known about her kid from the start. I was stunned. She told me her parents were handling the baby most of the time, but still, it was a lot to take in. I just told her okay and ended the call. I didn't reach out to her the next day, and she didn't contact me either. Probably busy with her kid. 2 days later, she messaged me, but I didn't reply because I didn't know how to handle it. That night, she called and asked if we should still go to the restaurant the next day. That's when I realized I didn't want to continue seeing her. I told her I didn't know she had a child and that I didn't want to be a step-parent, so it was best to end things. She calmly said, "Okay, I understand," and we ended the call. The next morning, I woke up to banging on my door. She was sobbing, telling me she loved me and begging me to meet her kid. She said I'd fall in love with the baby and wouldn't leave. I told her if I had known about the kid, I wouldn't have started dating her. She cried harder, and I told her I had to go to work, which was true. At work, I got an anonymous call with slurs. I'm not sure if it was her or someone else, but I'm suspicious. When I got home, neighbors told me she had been crying loudly at my door and even banged on some of their doors, introducing herself as my girlfriend. They didn't take any action because they assumed we had a normal fight. Most were supportive, but one single mother, Georgia, gave me a dirty look and said I shouldn't have given her hope if I was just going to leave. Honestly, I'm still processing the whole situation. I never intended to be a step-parent, and I feel like she should have told me sooner. I'm starting to feel like I'm being blamed for something that wasn't my fault. Am I the a-hole for ending the relationship and not being ready to take on the responsibility of dating a single mom? Bullet dodged. She is absolutely unhinged. Firstly, failing to mention she has a child in over a month of dating? Huge red flag. Like a red flag you could see from Neptune at night if it were being waved in a cave. Secondly, after a month of dating, she shows up at your house yelling, crying, and begging like a lunatic? Yeah, another huge red flag. Thirdly, thinking, only after a month of dating, that it's appropriate for you to step into the shoes of fatherhood? Madness. Demented, crack-fueled, howling, deranged madness. If you gathered all the red flags, put them on a hill, flooded them with light, and broadcast it live on YouTube or Facebook, yeah, this would be that. Not the a-hole. She even mentioned that her parents have the baby most of the time, which means she's either unstable or a deadbeat. She's probably desperately trying to find a father for her kid. That was a huge red flag. Then she buried it under the rest of her unhinged behavior. How the heck did all your neighbors get involved in this nonsense? Why would you or anyone think you're an a-hole? You barely know this woman. Who cares why you choose not to see her again? You're allowed to make your own choices. Julia is unhinged. Get a restraining order and tell your neighbors to stop talking to her. I've been living in this neighborhood since childhood, and most people here know me well. She had come to my home a few times and knew I had goodwill with the neighbors and that they have connections with my family too. I don't know if that's why she reached out to them. Look, you are 100% in your right not to want to date a single parent. However, I think Julia probably has postpartum depression, and it's most likely the father is a deadbeat or has taken off. None of this is your fault, but she has probably seen you as a lifeline, an escape for a little while. She isn't crazy. She likely is very, very unwell, so maybe you could spare her a little bit of compassion? So, like dating her out of compassion, or just comforting her somehow? Because her banging on my door is not allowing me to be near her anymore. Last story. Am I the a-hole for asking my roommate's wife to wear bottoms around the house? My significant other and I have been putting up our brother-in-law while he's trying to move back. He's employed and is paying token room and board, while he and his wife attempt to sell their house. It's been 6 months so far. My brother-in-law's spouse, Tina, is in her late 30s, a larger woman with some health issues. She has visited before and ruined decorative pillows due to having accidents on them, as she likes to sit on our black decorative cushions. She's now been spending half of every month, when she shouldn't be, in my home as a guest. She doesn't wear underwear under her nightgown and will stay in it for the majority of the day. I've had it. I watched her ruin another decorative pillow by sitting on it and leaving vaginal discharge and urine on it. I gave her a day to clean it, and she pretended it didn't happen. I ended up throwing out the pillow in disgust and bleaching the seating mat underneath it. She then wore the same pee-stained nightgown the next day, and I watched as she lifted it up to sit down bare butt on my furniture. So, we've spoken to her husband in hopes that he can tell her nicely to wear underpants. I'm also considering getting her a box of incontinence pads and leaving it in the bathroom she uses. Am I the a-hole in this? It's disgusting, right? Her lack of underwear isn't the problem. She wouldn't be setting foot in my home ever again if she behaved like that, let alone stayed 2 weeks each month. That's beyond disgusting and inappropriate. Not the a-hole. You need to set boundaries with your brother-in-law, and she needs to stay out of your house. Her lack of underwear is part of the problem. No guest of mine would sit in my furniture without underwear and get to stay. I'm on the autism spectrum, so don't always get the finer points of being a good guest. But I sure as heck am aware that doing that would be nasty. I've never had a naked tush or bush in a home that isn't mine. And does she actually do this in her home too? Because if so, I wouldn't be visiting her anytime soon either. Because ew. Not the a-hole, but it's time you tell your brother-in-law that if he can't control the situation, they have to leave. It doesn't matter if he's paying a small amount for room and board. You feel like a guest in your own home, and she is disgusting. She needs to be fully clothed, wearing underwear at the bare minimum. If they can't respect that this is your home, then they can leave and find accommodation elsewhere. Let your husband know that if brother-in-law does not have a discussion with his wife and fix the issue, you will. And that conversation likely won't end well. This exactly. Health issues or not, if she can't behave appropriately, she needs to not spend any time in your house. You would think someone with health issues would want to wear incontinence pads and have better hygiene.